Hello guys and welcome back to Game of Box Office. First of all, I want to thank you for more than 100 subscribers. I know that this YouTube channel is really slowly growing and is not catching so much attention from most people, but I'm glad that a few of you are interested in my videos and equally hyped about box office predictions and analysis. A few weeks ago I opened up a straw poll with 5 different options for the 100 subscribers special. You voted the most for a long prediction about the box office performance of Justice League Part 1. So I will start to work on this video very soon. Now let's come to the prediction on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. As always, I will start to count the positive factors who work in favor for the movie. The first point is the Guardians of the Galaxy team as well as the franchise as a whole. The first Guardians of the Galaxy was, besides American Sniper, by far the biggest box office surprise of 2014. Of course, people were predicting good numbers for the movie before it was released, but a gross of more than 330 million domestically and more than 440 million overseas was way more than even the most optimistic predictions for the movie predicted. It outgrossed every single other comic book movie from 2014. Days of Future Past, The Winter Soldier and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 all failed to gross near as much as Guardians did at the domestic market or worldwide, even though the X-Men franchise, the Spider-Man franchise and the Captain America franchise are all far more well known all over the planet. To top that off, Guardians of the Galaxy is also the most successful origin movie out of the Avengers Cinematic Universe. More successful than Iron Man, Thor, Captain America and so on. With a multiplier of above 3, it is the only movie besides the first Avengers, the first Iron Man and Ant-Man to achieve a multiplier of above 3. I could go on with the praise for this movie, but I think that you understand what I want to point out. For Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we'll see the return of the director James Gunn on the director's chair, and also the whole cast of the original Guardians of the Galaxy will be back in the movie. All of those elements and the fact that the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy is anticipated by a lot of people will help the box office performance enormously. The next thing I want to point out is the release timing. Guardians of the Galaxy will be released on May 5th next year. While it's not 100% set which movies will be released around that time frame, the big box office monsters are of course already set, and there is a good room before Guardians of the Galaxy and after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so the movie has plenty of room to gross great numbers. 3 weeks before the release of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we will see Fast 8 to hit the cinema screens. But this franchise is always starting huge and then falling fast, so it will not gross much money when Guardians will be released. After it will be released, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will have all in all 3 weeks to play great just for itself, until the next competitor comes the way with Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales on May 26th. Comic book movies always earn the biggest amount of their money in their first 3 weeks of release, so even when Pirates of the Caribbean opens to great reviews and will perform outstanding, the negative effect it will maybe have on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will be a little one. The next positive thing I want to point out is the Avengers Universe franchise as a whole. I already counted this point in the prediction on Thor Ragnarok, but this factor also works in favor for Guardians Volume 2. After Civil War, the Avengers Cinematic Universe is at a unique place when it comes to its box office capabilities. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will benefit from that heavily, and maybe even more than Thor Ragnarok. The last thing I want to point out is the release timing. I mentioned multiple times in the past that the release timing of 2 to 3 years between a movie and its sequel has proven to be the best time span when it comes to the positive box office performances of the sequel. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is right in that time span, with a distance of 2 years and 9 months to the original Guardians of the Galaxy. This will help Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 probably also to perform great at the box office. Normally I would now come to the negative factors which work not in favor for the movie, but to be honest, there are none. I can't think of one negative factor which could hurt the movie enormously. Overall, the signs for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to perform great are pretty damn good. So I will slowly fade in all positive factors I just counted, and will now start with the pessimistic prediction on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. In the most pessimistic scenario, when Doctor Strange turns out to be a very bad movie and casts a little shadow over Guardians, and when on top of that Guardians Volume 2 will be just a mediocre film, I see the movie to gross a little less than the first one. I predict an opening weekend of around $90 million, which will translate into a $250 million domestic total after a 2.77 multiplier. With a grown overseas market and a most importantly grown China market, the movie will earn $480 million overseas, for a combined worldwide total of $730 million. While some people will be disappointed with those numbers, to be honest, even those numbers will be a good money range for Disney. So it should be clear to everyone already that the movie will not perform bad, however you turn the facts. Now let's move on to the realistic prediction. Let's think about Doctor Strange not casting a shadow over Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 itself will be quite a good movie. Not as good as the original one, but a good sequel. In this scenario, I see an opening weekend of around $120 million, which will climb to a $350 million domestic total after a multiplier of 2.92. On top of that, the movie will earn an impressive $560 million overseas, due to a huge performance in China, for a combined worldwide total of $910 million worldwide. With these numbers, Guardians will come closer and closer to the gross of Civil War and Iron Man 3, and would become the 5th highest grossing movie out of the Avengers Cinematic Universe, just behind the Avengers, Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3 and Civil War. Now let's come to the optimistic prediction. When Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will be released to overwhelming reviews like the first one, and when audiences all over the planet love the sequel as much as the Origins movie, Guardians will become the next $1 billion movie out of the Avengers Cinematic Universe, and it will also beat Iron Man 3 and Civil War for the 3rd highest grossing domestic performance out of the Avengers Cinematic Universe. In this scenario, I see an opening weekend of $145 million, which will lead after a multiplier of 3 to a domestic total of $435 million. On top of that, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will earn something around $630 million overseas, for a combined worldwide total of $1.095 billion. When this prediction becomes reality, Disney will probably pop some bottles of champagne, since this will be a huge win for the franchise and a huge win overall for the Avengers Cinematic Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy is by far the franchise with the most potential and could grow even more with the 3rd installment. I honestly really hope this is going to happen, since it will open the door for some other great comic book adaptations. The next video will be an analysis on the Amazing Spider-Man, or a prediction on Spider-Man Homecoming or Jason Bourne. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I really hope you liked it. If so, leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to. Also, don't forget to write in the comments what the most fitting scenario is in your opinion. Click on the left video to see a prediction on Thor Ragnarok, the bottom one will lead you to a prediction on Doctor Strange, and the video on the right will show you the possible outcome on Star Trek Beyond. See you soon, bye bye.